Good morning. You missing people around you a little bit? Yeah, we have our last Sunday of BBX, and we have probably 150 kids. This is pretty quiet today, right? So don't make weird noises just to fill in the silence. But we have probably more than 50 volunteers also, so around 200 people that usually should be here, that are here every Sunday, are having a blast this morning. We believe in the next generations. We believe that they are not the future of the church, they are the present of the church. We're gonna keep investing in them. And that's what is happening this morning. So that's why it feels a little bit, and probably, I don't know if there are some people on vacation also enjoying the summer, but I'm so glad to have you here, to see you in this place. I think that God is going to bless us with His word. So I would like to pray and jump in right there. God, thank you for your presence here. Thank you for your Holy Spirit. Lord, you promised, and when we gather in your name, you will be among us. And it's not about feelings. It's not about emotions. You have given us those, and that's great, but it's about the certainty, the assurance that you are in this place. And Lord, that's what we need. We need your presence in our lives. We need you speaking your word into our hearts, transforming us, shaping us, molding us, making us more like you. So that's my prayer. That's our prayer this morning, that you make us more like you. We need you, Lord. So will you speak to us in your name? Amen. So we are in this series, Ecclesiastes, and we have been seeing a very strong message from the Kohelet, the preacher, right? And the message is kind of depressing at some point, like everything is vapor, right? Everything is vapor. Everything is meaningless. Everything is worthless. So by the way, you need a Bible. It's free, so you can raise your hand. We're not going to charge you for the Bible. If you need one, we're going to use it this morning. So everything is vapor, but he has another sentence that is very important to understand the meaning, the message. Under the sun. Under the sun. That means that there is another reality above the sun, right? So we are going to go to chapter 5, starting in verse 1. And I'm going to do my best to cover 2 chapters today. So buckle up. I'm going to go a little bit fast. Speed limit, still honoring that. But we're going to be in chapter 5 and 6 this morning. In chapter 5, the preacher is talking about taking God seriously. I have friends who love jokes, and they're always joking, always. So you don't even know when they are being honest or when they are being serious and when they are joking. And I remember telling one of them that is pretty sarcastic, hey, English is already my second language. So when you are ironic, when you're sarcastic, I'm going into a third level. It's difficult enough for me. So what about letting me know when it's a joke and when it's real, right? So when you're meaning it, but no, it didn't work. God, I think, has a great sense of humor. And one day I'll share with you an amazing story that happened to me about God's sense of humor. But I think even when He loves for us to laugh and smile, He wants us to take Him seriously. We don't play with God. This is not a joke. Our relationship with God, and that's something a lot of people don't understand, is the most important thing in life. If that doesn't work, life doesn't work. If my connection with God is not authentic, it's at the center of my life, nothing is going to work. So let's go to chapter 5, verses 1 to 3. Guard your steps when you go to the house of God. To draw near to listen is better than to offer the sacrifice of fools. For they do not know what they are doing that they are doing evil. Be not rash with your mouth, nor let your heart be hasty to utter a word before God. For God is in heaven and you are on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. For a dream comes with much business, and a fool's voice with many words. The author is saying here, God must be your focal point, the center of your worship. Worship is not about you. Worship is not about us. Worship is about God. But many times we make ourselves the center of worship. Well, I don't feel, I don't like, I is not the pronoun, the right pronoun in worship. It's him. Worship, it's about him. Worship is more about surrendering and submitting than talking or even doing. And that's precisely the advice that we have here. When you come to the house, God's house, draw near to what? Listen. How much do we listen when we come to God's presence? We're rushing, we're saying, we're active, we're doing for him. And the Bible is telling us, come and listen. Because without hearing, how can we understand God's purposes? And that's why Jesus said so many times, whoever has ears to hear, let them hear. Do you have ears? I see that you have a couple, right? Most of you, I guess all of us. We should listen. We should pay attention. But in order to listen, we need to do what? Be silent. And I think we are afraid of silence. Our society is full of noise everywhere. I remember being alone when I was a high schooler in my house and there was nobody there and I felt like I needed something. I played music. I turned on the TV. I was trying to feel the emptiness of silence because we don't feel usually comfortable with silence. Again, we fill our lives with noise. We made it so difficult for ourselves to be still and to know who God is. But that's what the Bible says. Be still and know who I am. So in order to know, you have to be still. And we don't make the space to meditate in silence. And when that happens, our worship is not what God desires. It's not about what we do. It's about who he is. That's worship. So the text is saying to listen is better than to offer the sacrifice of fools. It's a strong word because that is evil. Even worse than worthless. Even worse than vapor. Evil. Worship is not religion. Authentic worship is not a collection of our rituals without a meaning. What the word is saying is that it's evil to perform all these rituals of worship without having God as the center of it. So we can be doing an amazing service for God and God saying it's evil because it's all about you guys. It's not about me. You forgot me. The sacrifice of fools is the kind of religion that the prophets in the Old Testament pointed out constantly. And even Jesus criticized that in the religious people of his time. And he said, it's easy to look good in the outside and be rotten on the inside. And I know that you have read this. And it's easy to forget. It's easy to get it out of our minds that worship is not about us. It's not about our exterior. It's not a facade. It's our hearts. Right? But that's what the text, what the Bible is telling us. Worship It's not about our external practices. Again, it's about our hearts being surrendered to Christ. That's why it's so important to pause, to listen, to think, to reflect, to meditate. In a world, in a society that is always looking for more and bigger and larger and louder, that doesn't mean better and deeper and closer and more real. And this is countercultural. Our society is more, bigger, louder, more exciting. Give me more. And God is saying, wait, calm, listen, be still, and know that I am God. The preacher is talking about when you come to the house of God, take your time before you even commit to God. Because God knows everything. And what I understand is he's saying, there's no way that you're going to impress God. There is no way to do something that God didn't know. He's looking at your heart. He has the X-rays like Superman, right? Seeing across your body, across your soul, your spirit, and going inside and saying, I know who you are. What are you trying to do with your words, with your vows, with your commitment? You're trying to impress me? You're not going to make it. I know everything. So I think the calling here is to be authentic. It's to understand who God is and who we are. That He is God and we are not. He is at the center of worship. We shouldn't be. Verses 4-7, when you vow a vow, and that's kind of, when I was reading this, is it, that's kind of vow a vow? Yes. Where are you going to vow? A vow? Yes, of course. When you vow a vow to God, do not delay paying it, for He has no pleasure in fools. Fools, again, the word, strong. Pay what you vow. It is better that you should not vow than that you should vow and not pay. Let not your mouth lead you into sin, and do not say before the messenger that it was a mistake. Why should God be angry at your voice and destroy the work of your hands? For when dreams increase and words grow many, there is vanity, vapor. But God is the one you must fear. What is the preacher talking about here? Integrity. That's the vital component of worship. The true worshiper fulfills his promises to God. You know, in the ancient world, people came to God with promises in kind of an exchange for granting their request. God, I'm going to give you this, so please give me what I'm asking. Same nowadays, right? So we come to God saying, God, I'm going to come to the table if you, I'm going to do this. I'm going to offer you this. I'm going to give you more offerings, or I'm going to give you more of my time, or I'm going to go more to the services. If you, and I don't think that's the way it works, because you don't negotiate with God. You understand who He is, and you align your life to His purposes, and you are going to see His blessings for sure. That's His promise. But it's not a negotiation. It's not a trade with God. That's not how it works. Now, I encourage you to commit with Him or to Him. Yes. But if it is coming from your heart, not in a way to take advantage of it. But in this context, what the preacher is saying, when you commit, fulfill your promises. Otherwise, it's not going to go well for you. When you do that, fulfill your vows. But again, the emphasis here is on the integrity. And it's not a small thing. In verse 7, he's saying, words and dreams, many words, blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah. That's what God is saying. When we are coming with all our external things, what God is saying, I know you, I know who you are. Why are you trying to impress me with your words? And if those are in King James, even sound bigger, right? Like more spiritual. Jesus said, or taught us to not to keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. It's the same thing. What is God asking when we are approaching him? To be honest, to be real, to be authentic, to be transparent, because he already knows who we are. So when you come to God, say, God, here I am. Yes, I fail. Yes, I feel discouraged. Or I feel pumped. I feel like, yes, this is a good time in my life, but can you lead me? I'm here. And I want to commit with you, but I don't want just fake words to impress you. I'm going to be honest with you. And the last part of this verse 7 says, and fear God. Stand in awe of God. It is a matter of the heart, which should be reflected in what we see, what we do, what we say, how we think. To fear God should be reflected in everything, every aspect of our lives. Not just Sunday mornings when we come here. Not when someone is cursing and we say, ooh. It's more than that. To fear God is be aware of our behavior, our thoughts, our words, our everything, and honor him. That's the kind of fear that he's asking us. Really like what the author of the new IEV application commentary says. And we have here on the screens for you. Silent reflection, deliberate inactivity. It is necessary if we are to regain perspective and remember who God really is and what that really means and what therefore the church is for. We need to hear again that injunction. Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. And to hear it, we need to stop talking. God is saying, come, worship me. I want a relationship with you. I'm God, you are my creature. I'm the Father, you are my son or my daughter. Yes, but come. But understand our relationship. This is a holy relationship. So don't take it lightly. Take God seriously. And now we go to verse 8, and it seems like there is an abrupt change in the topic because it's moving from worship to riches and wealth. And you say, where's the connection? Well, that's one of the problems with the wisdom, this kind of literature, that you remember Proverbs? It was jumping kind of from topic to topic to topic and say, I don't know, this guy was hyperactive probably, or was difficult to concentrate. And this is kind of what I saw as I was studying the text. But then I saw that there's a connection, yes, because all of this is about worship. And you decide who you worship. God, yourself, riches, that at the end of the day is yourself. So that's the question here. Verse 8 and 9. If you see in a province the oppression of the poor and the violation of justice and righteousness, do not be amazed at the matter, for the high official is watched by a higher, and there are yet higher ones over them. But this is gain for a land in every way, a king committed to cultivated fields. And there are even things that are difficult to understand. What does this mean? Well, it's the topic of oppression and injustice in the context of wealth hoarding. Oppression, as the Bible is saying, the oppression and injustice are not just the behavior of specific individuals. What we see here is a structure. These are the consequences of our human sinful nature. And these problems don't come because of one person, but because we are all broken. Oppression and injustice are the result of looking out for our own interests. And ultimately, no one is looking out for the interests of the poor, and nobody is seeking justice. Oppression and injustice happen when people are selfish, when people are thinking about themselves and not to honor God, and not to love God and to love others. You see the connection now between worship and wealth and oppression and hoarding. And even the king or whoever is at the top of the pyramid is the ultimate beneficiary. Again, the preacher was talking about worship, and now he's talking about these issues because people are worshiping themselves. And that's why we are seeing these kind of things. So where is the problem coming from? Where is the root of this reality? Verses 10 to 12. He who loves money will not be satisfied with money, nor he who loves wealth with his income. This is also vanity, vapor, meaningless. When goods increase, they increase who eat them. And what advantage has their honor but to see them with his eyes? Sweet is the sleep of a laborer, whether he eats little or much, but the full stomach of the rich will not let him sleep. Strong principle here again. The love of riches, love of money, that is the root of these problems. You worship God or you worship yourself, or you worship money. But Jesus said, you remember, you cannot serve two masters. And we all know, right? Is this new? I don't think this is new information for us, but we keep practicing it. We keep falling into worshiping ourselves or worshiping even money. And the author is saying the love of money is vapor. Why? Because there is never enough. Because when you serve money, you're serving an idol. And like all false idols, money is incapable of satisfying your hunger and your thirst. I want to repeat it again because I think this is very important. Money is an idol. And like all false idols, money is incapable of satisfying your thirst and your hunger. There's a famous song, and now every time that I'm preaching, I'm thinking of a new song for you. So this is the song today. Same topic, same idea. Can we play it? Try to recognize it. Yeah, I see you, some of you clapping and wanted to worship. No, that's not a worship song. Satisfaction. Okay, I think that's enough. That's good. Yeah, I don't want something coming from heaven to destroy us today because we are transforming the house of worship into a house of concert of the Rolling Stones. But you know that song, right? At least if you are old like me, maybe the younger generations have never. It's a classic. You should know this song. But that's when you start speaking like that, you realize that you're old. Yes. But what is the meaning of that song? There's no satisfaction. And they say, I have trouble, I have watched TV, people are always saying what I should be taking, buying, seeing, doing. I can get no satisfaction. John D. Rockefeller, that was the richest man in the world in the 1900s, he was asked about how much money was enough. And you may have heard this. How much money was enough? And he said, just a little bit more. So think of this. You're a billionaire and you just want, our version says, $1 more. $1 more. Just one more. And then you'll want one more. just a little bit more. It's never enough. Material possessions can never provide lasting happiness. And there's a big truth in verse 12. It's saying if you are an employee, you go to your job, you check in, check out, you go home, and you sleep well. But the rich, the owner, is concerned about the stock market, the property insurance, the tariffs, is not sleeping well. Why? Because money, possessions, don't satisfy. Let me give you another example that you may connect with. You have an old car with a couple of dents, a little bit more than that. It has more than a couple of dents, some rust. You come to the parking lot and you don't care where you park, right? You say, I'm parking here. People around me will be concerned, but I'm not. So they will be careful when they open their doors that I don't care. I mean, another dent, well, maybe it looks good even. But when you have a new car, like that one, you want to park it way away from the other cars because you don't want anything. You don't want even the birds flying around you. Get out. Don't do your thing on my car. Get out of here. You are more concerned with this car, with the other car. This is not satisfying you. It's creating more issues. We're thinking to rent some special spaces for you that have nice cars so we get more money. No, of course we don't. But this is a proof that things don't satisfy us. Because you may think, when I will have this kind of car, I'm going to be so happy. No, you won't. You'll be more stressed. You drive the other one and you don't care. I mean, if it dies, it dies. But if this dies, it's a lot of money to repair it. It's everything. It's more stress on you. If your heart, if your love is in money, you will never be satisfied. Verse 13, there is a grievous evil that I have seen under the sun. Riches were kept by their honor to his hurt. And those riches were lost in a bad venture. And he is father of a son, but he has nothing in his hand. As he came from his mother's womb, he shall go again, naked as he came, and shall take nothing for his toil, that he may carry away in his hand. This also is grievous evil. Just as he came, so shall he go. And what gain is there to him who toils for the wind? Moreover, all his days he eats in darkness, in much vexation, in sickness, and anger. Grieves evil, that another translation would be sick evil. Pretty clear. Riches hurt. Riches hurt. And these are the results of wealth being hoarded instead of being used to bless others and seek justice. And I don't think the Bible is telling us everyone should be poor and then you'll be more satisfied. No, the money is not gonna satisfy you. If your heart is in money, it will never be enough. Now you can use money for things that will satisfy you, to honor God, to worship God, to serve God, to bless others, and you'll find satisfaction there. But when you think about money as your final goal, it will never work. The text is saying, we'll take nothing with us when we die. We came with nothing and we will depart with nothing. This week I attended 2 funerals. 2 great people. Actually, people that really understood the purpose of life. They had lives that honored God with everything. And it was amazing when you go to a funeral and people just, the only thing that they have is good words for those who passed. It's great because you see a life well invested. But even them that had great lives weren't able to take anything with them. They were honoring God during their lives. They were storing up wealth in heaven, but they didn't take anything when they died. And as verse 16 says, without that kind of hope and purpose, it is grieves evil to toil for the wind, to toil for things that will stay here. My wife told me about a book that is titled The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. I don't know if she's thinking that I'm going to die soon or she wanted, no, I don't think so. She's preparing me, but this is very interesting. This is a lady, her name is Bronnie Ware. She worked in palliative care for many years, and she wrote this book as a summary of all the answers of her patients. And here's the 5 most common. Number 1, I wish I would have the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Number 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And that's against the culture, right? Here we work hard and we feel good when we do that. And most of the people that she interviews said, why? Number 3, I wish I would have the courage to express my feelings. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Number 5, I wish I had let myself be happier. And this is not a Christian book, I think. But I think it's pointed out what is important in life. And I'm sure that there is one missing in the list. And if she would have had the chance to talk with her patients after they died, I'm sure that many of them would have said, I wish I would have believed in Jesus as my Lord and Savior. But that will be too late. It's too late of all these things when you die, and it's too late to start a relationship with Jesus, because this now when we have the opportunity. It's on this earth. So what are you toiling for in life? What is your purpose? And we have something for you. I'm going to ask John to keep preaching the sermon. No. He's helping us with a sculpture that Pastor Johan did this week. And this is just a representation. Hopefully it doesn't take much of your attention during the rest of the sermon, because I have a little bit more. But it's just a representation of things that we toil for. Things that we chase with our lives. Things that we think are going to make us happy. Oh, when I'll buy that TV, not this one. Was probably, I don't know, it's 40-inch. But when I buy the 120-inch TV, that's when I'm going to enjoy the games, right? No, it will be the same. How many of you remember those 14-inch TVs, black and white? That's not even possible to watch TV in a 14. That's what we have, Monica and I. Well, ours was color, but still. 14-inch, how do we, it's probably this is the size. When I'll have the computer, no, when I have my guitar, no, time. When I'll have more time, you have the time that you have. The question is how you use it, and what is the purpose that you give it. When I have clothes, when I have, I don't know, there are a lot of things here. This is going to be in the comments next week. And we're going to have kind of an installation for you to think about things that we chase for but will never satisfy, because this is vapor. But how much do we work for these things? Sports. We invest time and money in thinking that it's going to, and I love sports. You don't believe me, but I wanted to be a PE teacher. He said, with that body? Yes. I wanted to be a PE teacher. It's about your heart. It's not about the exterior. Do you remember? What is the purpose of all of this? And again, think, if you take a time to think, how much do we invest on all these things? And many of us, even knowing that those things won't fulfill us, we keep building our lives. And this is kind of the purpose here, trying to see a pillar. And John said that this is called piling under the sun. Piling under the sun. We keep building our lives around these things instead of having Jesus as our firm foundation, as we sang this morning. If you love riches, verse 17, your life will be in darkness, frustration, affliction, and anger. Wow, is that enough to understand it? This is what God is saying. What is in our human nature that leads us to run after material things rather than learning to trust and to worship to the Creator of the universe? And the message that we hear every day around us is more money, more happiness. You'll be happy with money. You'll be someone important. You'll have recognition. You'll have appreciation. You'll have purpose. You'll have meaning in life if you have money. And God is saying, no, that's false. And we keep thinking a little bit more, like Rockefeller, a little bit more. The New Testament is even stronger. 1 Timothy 6, 9-10. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation, in a trap, and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money, again, not money. It's not saying that money is bad. It's not saying that money is evil. Actually, what we see is that everything is a blessing from God. Everything is a gift from God. But the love of money, making money your God, your idol, is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered. Look at this, it's so strong. Wandered from the faith. People abandoning their relationship with God. And they have pierced themselves with many griefs because of the love of money. And it's so easy to get out of the way, because our society is always telling that that's what we need, and we believe in it. Verse 18-20. Behold, what I have seen to be good and fitting is to eat and drink and find enjoyment in all the toil with which one toils under the sun, the few days of his life that God has given him, for this is his lot. Everyone also to whom God has given wealth and possessions and power to enjoy them and to accept his lot and rejoice in his toil, this is the gift of God. For he will not much remember the days of his life, because God keeps him occupied with joy in his heart. This is the conclusion of the preacher in this chapter. Eat, drink, find satisfaction, find enjoyment during the few days of life God has given you, because all those riches and possessions are a gift. This is a gift from God to be enjoyed, but not to be made an idol. True wisdom is lying in the understanding that what we have, all we have, comes from God. Well, but I work hard. Well, yes, God gave you the strength. Well, but I climbed the ladder. Yes, God gave you the intelligence to do it. Everything we have is from God. So if you can honor God with those things, God is saying, enjoy it. I gave it to you. Don't feel bad, but honor me. Love me, love others, and you'll find satisfaction. A few minutes in chapter 6. There is an evil that I have seen under the sun, and it lies heavy on mankind. A man to whom God gives wealth, possessions, and honor, so that he lacks nothing of all of that he desires. Yet God does not give him power to enjoy them, but a stranger enjoys them. And this is vanity. It is a grievous evil. The same way that some people are able to enjoy their possessions as a gift from God, other people don't have the privilege. Even more, they see a stranger enjoying their things. And this is producing frustration for the preacher. Why can some enjoy the possessions and others don't? Well, we don't have the answers here. But what we know is wealth is not a guarantee of joy or happiness. And there's a big impacting example here in verses 3-6. If a man fathers 100 children, you want 100? Chino was complaining about 4. Just imagine 100. Well, it's hyperbole, right? It's an exaggeration, but keep that in mind. And lives many years, so that the days of his years are many, but his soul is not satisfied with life's good things. And he also has no burial. I said that a stillborn child is better off than he. For it comes in vanity and goes in darkness, and in darkness its name is covered. Moreover, it has not seen the sun or known anything, yet it finds rest rather than he, even though he should live 1,000 years twice over. Some of you are tired of living 80 years, so 2,000. Yet enjoy no good. Do not all go to the one place. So he's using, again, an extreme example, an exaggeration. And he's saying all of this, all the children and the years that are kind of representations of blessings from God are vapor if you don't have that joy in your life. If you don't have satisfaction. This is an extreme comparison. And the life of such a person is so miserable that what the Bible is saying, a stillborn child is better. And the point, of course, is not to minimize the tragedy of a stillborn child. The point here is to emphasize through the shocking comparison that the tragedy of life that is lived without contentment or peace of mind. So if you don't find purpose in God, doesn't matter you have 100 kids, 2,000 years of life, billions of dollars, you'll be miserable. Miserable. Because contentment is only found in God. Verse 7-9, all the toil of man is for his mouth, yet his appetite is not satisfied. For what advantage has the wise man over the fool? And what does the poor man have who knows how to conduct himself before the living? Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the appetite. This also is vanity and is striving after when whatever has come to be has already been named. And it is known what man is, and that he is not able to dispute with one stronger than he. The more words, the more vanity, and what is the advantage to man? Again, same message here. And I was talking with Pastor Dan this week. This is kind of a cyclical, or it's kind of a spiral, the way that the writer shares his message. He goes over and over to the same topic. And he's saying, work will satisfy, or we think is going to satisfy our desires. It's never enough. Never enough. Verse 8 is difficult to understand, but the main message is that the person who is wise and has became rich for their intelligence, or the fool, rich or poor, they don't find satisfaction in the material things. And basically, it's saying visible is better than wandering. The wealthy fool fails to see the good in what lies before him because he wants more, and he toils for more. And it's better to be content with what you have and what you see, because at the end of the day, everything under the sun is vapor. Chasing after the wind, everything under the sun will never be enough. And that is why it is so foolish to dedicate our lives to those things. And the author is saying, nothing is new. We are limited. We cannot fight someone stronger than us. Who's that? God? We cannot fight him. He has determined things. He has named things. Why are we trying to make it our own way? It doesn't work. He's the creator. And more words, more vapor. There is no point in multiplying words in a vain attempt to change the nature of reality. Last verse, verse 12. And this kind of, again, depressing if this would be the only revelation that we have. But we have more. For who knows what is good for man while he lives the few days of his vain life, which he passes like a shadow? For who can tell man what will be after him under the sun? Who knows? No one, nobody. Only one, God. He knows exactly, because he has created everything, because he's in control of everything, because he is God. And he knows. And the message is clear. Money doesn't satisfy. Entertainment doesn't satisfy. Sports don't satisfy. Children, spouses, long-lasting life don't satisfy. The King David said, he wrote in Psalm 63, you, God, are my God. Earnestly I seek you. I thirst for you. My whole being longs for you. In a dry and parched land where there is no water, I have seen you in the sanctuary and beheld your power and your glory, because your love is better than life, better than all these things. My lips will glorify you. I will praise you as long as I live, and in your name I will lift up my hands. I will be fully satisfied as with the richest of foods. You see where satisfaction is? You see where we need to come to? You can listen this message. We can listen this message, or we can keep continuing in our own way. I read something that caught my attention. Probably you have read this or you have known about this. There was this is a U.S. Navy radio communication. Voice 1. Please divert your course 15 degrees to the north to avoid a collision. Voice 2. Recommend you divert your course 15 degrees to the south to avoid a collision. Voice 1. This is the captain of a U.S. Navy ship. I say again, divert your course. Voice 2. No, I say again, divert your course. Voice 1. This is the aircraft carrier Enterprise. We're a large warship of the U.S. Navy. Divert your course now. Voice 2. This is a lighthouse. Your call. God is the lighthouse. God knows. Will you listen? Vapor, purpose, and meaning. Your call. God, thank you for your word this morning. It's a strong but a very clear reminder about where we find purpose, about who is worthy of worship. Lord, help us to surrender our lives to you. Help us to come to you in a humble attitude every day and bring our hearts and telling you that we are all yours. Lord, we want to listen from you. Lord, we want to find contentment, satisfaction, purpose, meaning only in you, because we know you have told us that everything else is vapor. Lord, I pray for everyone in this room that you help us to make decisions. I don't know everyone's life, but you know, you see our hearts, and I pray that you help us to surrender. In Jesus' name, amen.